समस्त को सादर नमस्ते बंधुगण। मु गांधीजी भितर कौन सी महात्मा देखी ना, तांको भितर मु सब बेले दुईटी चरित्र देखे। तांकर मुहरे गोटे कथा एवं अंतर गोटे कथा। सी निश्चित भाव एक रहस्यमय पुरुष। ए कथा कहला पर अनेक लोक मो उपरे बिगड़ी जिवे, तथा कथित गांधीवादी मो उपरे रागिवे, मते तात्सल्य करि पारନ୍ତି, भर्त्सना भी करि पारନ୍ତି, किंतु ए जुक्ति सबु मोर नुह। एही जुक्ति बाड़ुचंती आमर भारतर संविधान निर्माता भावरे आख्या पाइथिबा डॉक्टर भीमराव रामजी आंबेडकर। देखंतु एही रिपोर्ट, तापरे निज अनुमान लगांतु गांधीजी कौन थे। एमिति अनेक रहस्य एही रिपोर्ट रे आपण पाइजिवे।
Met Mr. Gandhi in the capacity of an opponent. I have a feeling that I know him better than most other people because he had opened his real fangs to me and I could see the inside of the man. While others who generally went there as devotees saw nothing of him except the external appearance which he had put up as a Mahatma. But I saw him in his human capacity, the bare man in him.
You don't feel then that he fundamentally changed the aspect of
Not at all, not at all. In fact, he was all the time double dealing. He conducted two papers, one in English, the Harijan, and before that, Young India. And in Gujarati, he conducted another paper, you see, which is called the Deenbandhu or something like that. Now, if you read the two papers, you will see how Mr. Gandhi was deceiving the people. In the English paper, he posed himself as an opponent of the caste system and of untouchability, and that he was a Democrat. But if you read a Gujarati magazine, you will see him a more orthodox man. He has been supporting the caste system, the Varnashram Dharma, and all the orthodox dogmas, you see, which has kept India down all through ages. In fact, somebody ought to write Mr. Gandhi's biography by making a comparative study of the statements made by Mr. Gandhi in his Harijan and the statements made by Mr. Gandhi in this Gujarati paper. The Western world only reads the English paper, where Mr. Gandhi, in order to keep himself in the esteem of the Western people who believe in democracy, was advocating democratic ideals. But you got to see also what he actually taught to the people in his vernacular paper. Nobody seems to have made any reference. All the biographies that have been written of him are based upon his Harijan and the Young India, but not upon the Gujarati writings of Mr. Gandhi. We have been carrying on with untouchability for the last 2000 years. Nobody has bothered about it. Nobody has bothered about it. Yes, there are some disabilities which are very harmful. For instance, people can't take water, and people can't have land to cultivate and earn their livelihood. But the other things which are far more important, you say, namely that they should have the same status in the country and that they should have the opportunity to hold high offices, so that not only their dignity will rise, but also they will get what I call strategic positions from which they could protect their own people. Mr. Gandhi was totally opposed. Totally opposed.
He was content with things like temple entry.
Temple entry, that was all the thing that he wanted to do. Which is nobody cares for Hindu temples now. The untouchables have become so conscious of the fact that temple going is of no consequence at all. You live in the untouchable quarters, just the same, whether you went into the temple or whether you did not go into the temple. People at one time would not allow the untouchables to travel by railways because of pollution. But now they don't mind because the railways won't make any separate arrangement. But because they travel together in the train, it doesn't follow that their life in the villages vis-a-vis the Hindus has in any sense changed. Whenever the Hindu and the untouchable alights at a railway train, you see, they assume their old robes. I do not know how suddenly Mr. Attlee agreed to give independence. That's a matter of secret which Mr. Attlee one day, I think, will disclose in his autobiography. Nobody ever expected. This is such a sudden change of front. Nobody ever expected. It seems to me, from the analysis that I make about it, there are two things which I think led to the Labour Party to take this decision. One is the national army that was raised by Subhash Chandra Bose. The British had been ruling this country in the firm belief that whatever may happen, you see, in this country, and whatever the politician may do, they will never be able to change the loyalty of the soldier. That was the one prop on which they were carrying on their administration. Now that thing was completely dashed to pieces when they found that even the soldier was being seduced and to form a party or a battalion to blow off the British. Then I think the British came to the conclusion that if they were to rule India, the only basis on which they could rule was the maintenance of the British Army, going back to the year 1857, when the Indian soldier rebelled against the East India Company. And they found that it would never be possible for the British to supply India with enough European troops to keep their hold on it. Secondly, I think the British soldier wanted the disbandment of the army immediately, so that they wanted to go to their civil jobs. How much indignation there was at this gradual disbandment of the army. Because those who were not disbanded felt that those who were disbanded were going to take their jobs. What's going to happen to them? Therefore, they could not think of having enough of a British army to keep India down. You see? And besides, they had thought, I think, thirdly, that after all, what they gained from India was commerce, and not so much the civil servant salary or the army income. They were small things, and they had better be sacrificed for the sake of keeping something which was much more profitable, namely trade and commerce. Because whether India remain independent or India
देखिले तो बंधुगण आमे जहाकू महात्मा महात्मा बोली आख्या दउचे आउ जने महात्मा सेई महात्मा विषय कौन कहउचंती सेइथि पई संपूर्ण भाव में अंध भली कौनसी विषय कौनसी लोक को विश्वास न करी तांकर विषय रे अन्यान्य सोर्स पढ़ंतु तथ्य आज सब बेले उपलब्ध अछि सदा सर्वदा उपलब्ध आपण माने पढ़ंतु अंधभक्ति कहार भी न हो। नमस्ते, जय भारत।